still wakes the deep, manages to terrify its players, not just with its excellent monster and level design. That scared the crap out of me. But also the outstanding Scottish voice acting, music and sound design. I've played around 3 hours, and since the game can be completed in 5 to 6 hours, I think I'm fit to show you this game today. I will restrict the footage I show to the first 60 minutes of gameplay and will blur footage of the monsters. So this is a first-person horror game with a survival aspect, set on an oil rig during 1975. And it isn't one of those games where you're just a live and voiceless pair of floating arms. It is a story-driven game, and you play as the Scottish electrician called McLary, who very much isn't mute and doesn't hold back to swear in his Scottish accent. The entire voice acting in the game has actual proper Scottish accents, and it is ridiculously good.
Looking at you wee gobshites messing with my operation. That chef might be a mate of yours, but he does not run things around here. I do. Do you understand me?
Alright, why don't you just get on with it?
Don't you answer me back!
A lot of the monsters, since they are kind of humanoid, also have creepy Scottish accents, which makes them even more terrifying and disturbing. So yes, absolute top tier voice acting from the entire cast here. Now, the very beginning of the game sets the stage. You get familiar with your character and his background, like his current marriage issues with his wife. Due to the family unfriendly job, you also meet some of the characters that are going to play a role later in the game. A bit later, but still in the opening, we get to see him having an argument with his boss, who is a total piece of crap. Ultimately, it gets him fired, and he has to leave the oil rig via helicopter. However, an incident that cost quite a few crew members' lives makes it impossible to leave. This is the moment where the horror and survival aspect of the game actually gets going. It's important to know that the game is first and foremost a walking simulator, which makes for a very cinematic and authentic experience. It's almost like you're playing the main character of a very good 5 to 6 hour long movie. So since there are no weapons, the game pretty much consists of you navigating this place, hiding and escaping from monsters and passing quick-time events. If you're familiar with Outlast, for example, this is pretty much what you can expect in terms of gameplay, just with an even bigger focus on narrative elements. But even if you don't fancy walking simulators that much, it may be worth giving the game a shot for a couple reasons. Firstly, the game's setting is very interesting, and the way they designed and present this oil rig feels very atmospheric and authentic. Even if there were no horror elements present in this game, it still feels like a place not fit for humans to live on. Because the ambient sounds and effects are on such a high level of quality, you really get immersed into this location. I don't want to spoil the monsters you encounter, but the design of them is very well done. It is a proper horror game. The monsters are disfigured and disturbing, but still have some human elements left, like the Scottish accent, for example, that also has a disturbing ring to it. It is one of those few games where I could say I felt genuine fear in certain moments. And even with all those disturbing elements being present, I still like the human interactions and conversations that you experience here, even though I would have liked just a bit more time to get to know them. The game being on the shorter side just means that there isn't that much time to really build a strong connection to most of the characters. So this game is a love letter to so many phobias a human can possibly have. And while the linear structure might disappoint some, their strong atmosphere compensates for that in my opinion. If you're skeptical, then waiting for a sale isn't a bad idea. The game is on the shorter side, so if that's something that bothers you, then spending 30 euros right now maybe isn't worth it for you. A like is very much appreciated if this was helpful, and I'll see you next time.